All right, perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Sunday with an amazing guest who I love and adore and respect with all my heart and soul, April Hill. How's it going?
Good, good.
Pretty good?
Uh, Good Sunday. Lots of rain and stuff.
Good. I know you're telling me that there was a lot of storms coming your way, so it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. It's been nice though, but also it's like we just got a, a kiddie pool for the kids, and they're like, "We want to swim," and I'm like, "But it's raining."
I know, right? It's getting hotter, so like, yeah, that whole thing is happening. Oh my gosh. And then, okay, perfect. So, I am very nervous tonight to do this like interview because I am with April Hill, who is my dungeon master for Vaults. It was like Vault 42, and now it is Vault on the initiative order coming soon on June 7th and everything. Amazing dungeon master that she's also done the one shot for Adventures Wanted, which like was so much fun. This woman has tons and tons of talent and creativity, and all the while having so many good vibes, along with it. So I want to thank you first and foremost for being here, April.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad. I'm like super excited. I was like, ever since I saw you do interviews and stuff, I was like, "Ooh, I want to be on an interview. I've never been
Yeah,
interviewed
absolutely.
before."
I've always been like April's definitely on this list to get interviewed. So I'm like so excited that we actually get to do this tonight. So it's like gonna be so good. So I only know you from what you did with like Fable 42 and being my dungeon master and everything for like vaults and everything like that, and then from then on. But there's so much to you and everything. So I want you to take a moment to introduce yourself and your brand and everything that you do.
Well, my name is April Hill. Oh goodness. So all the things that I do. I'm a voice actor. I also am an artist. I'm a shoe artist. I do commissions for shoe art, like on Converse, usually Converse and high heels. That's one of I've got so many little side hustles. I also, yeah, I've got a couple cool projects coming up. Obviously, the show coming up with the new TTRPG by Modifius.
Yeah, I'm so
The,
excited.
the game. Yeah, we're going to be continuing that, but switching systems, switching where we're streaming from.
Yeah,
But same players, and
with
adding
one.
an
Yeah,
artist
exactly.
here
Yeah,
who was a part of the team anyway. She was a producer, but now she's part of the cast.
yeah.
So we've just got a tight knit group, and I absolutely love it. I'm also a mom, so and it's been so nice. I've connected with so many D&D moms lately, where we were at before, I felt like a unicorn. Like, oh, there's no other D&D mommies out there. And then now it's like, oh, you have kids? You have kids?
Yeah.
You have kids and you're playing D&D. This is amazing. So I feel like I finally, I found my people before, but now
Yeah.
I've found even more people that I didn't know existed. So it's like, so I love meeting new people and making friends. So
Yeah, I relate to that so much because I was in the cosplay circle, the convention circle, and all that time and everything. A lot of people from the cosplay circle are usually like young adults. They don't really have kids and all that kind of stuff and everything. So meeting Alexia and becoming a stepdad, it felt like I was also a unicorn, being like, I have a stepkid, but no one else gets that because they're all like, not parents. But now I met like Ronan and you and Taryn and all these different people who have kids and Mountain Taker as well and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, yeah, my people, like we can all talk about our kids are like wild and crazy but we love them, so it's like it's pretty awesome, and it's good, it's really really cool. And I appreciate that you're a jack of all trades as well. You're an artist, not just with like storytelling, but also as a voice actress, and also with like and as an artist with your shoe designs and everything. So that's really really cool. So would you be able to tell us what your actual origin story is? Like, how did you get into? Let's go with like two things: art and like Dungeons and Dragons or tabletop RPGs. Yeah, what
okay.
led you down that path? Yeah.
Oh wow. I've always had a knack for art. I've always enjoyed writing. I've always enjoyed drawing,
Mhm.
and when I was a little girl, like I loved coloring and making my own little just anytime I could get my hands on colors and markers and anything like that, I loved drawing.
Yeah.
So that stems from when I was super young. Um, as well as I loved writing.
Mhm.
I won a bunch of awards when I was a kid.
Oh my God, really? That's
Yeah, I
amazing.
even had a poem published when I
Yeah,
was in junior high,
yeah,
like published in a book, which is
yeah,
cool. Um, and I think that stemmed from my love of reading.
yeah,
I'm a huge bookworm. Which is it's slowed down a lot since having kids, but
yeah. I feel
audiobooks
that.
are your friend. So I used to read. I always had and I'm very competitive. So when I was in school, the accelerated reading program, where you have like points and stuff, the
Yeah.
books count as points. I always had to be like the top of my class with that,
Oh my
and then
gosh, it's
the top of
amazing.
my grade. And one time I was the top of the school, and I would go into the library and I would just find the thickest, most high point value books that I could, and
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Yep, reading that." Like
Let's
Watership Down,
do
I read
it.
that
It
when I
was
was in
like,
sixth grade.
yeah,
Yeah, like I was just like, I'm just going to read all of these books. And so yeah, I grew up reading, staying in my room a lot, playing
yeah,
video games a lot, and I didn't have a lot of friends because I was either reading or playing video games. But I
yeah.
was also in sports, but that's like, yeah.
Birds of a feather. That's why we're friends. That's same. Yeah, same thing. Oh my gosh.
Do all the things. And
Right. And then getting into tabletop RPGs or even Dungeons and Dragons, what is your story for there? Actually, one question really quick. As an artist, when you were growing up, did you have anyone that like led you down this path, or did you kind of stumble upon it yourself?
uh, I watched Bob Ross sometimes on
Oh,
the
that's really
TV.
cool. Yeah.
I don't remember ever following along. But yeah, I remember watching that and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like, because I never really had access to paints and stuff. We
Yeah.
were pretty poor. But I always thought that was really cool. Like this guy's on TV and he's painting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like watching Disney movies, watching cartoons, I was like, oh, these people are like that's an artist that did that. I guess those would be my influences, but nobody really, I guess, put me there.
Yeah,
I just
that's
something
really cool.
I love doing.
That explains a lot, you know, because when it usually comes to hustlers who have like a bunch of side projects and everything like that, they're usually self starters who like they didn't need someone to prompt them to do things; they just did it on their own, you know. So that like that explains a lot about who you are as an adult. Like, talking about your childhood and everything like that. That's really cool. And then okay, so now going back to Dungeons and Dragons or any tabletop RPG, what was your introduction to that?
Okay. Yeah. So for the past about almost 10 years, I've been big into tabletop gaming,
Yeah,
not necessarily tabletop RPGs. I mean, Fiasco, stuff like that. I
yeah,
mean, light tabletop RPG. Well, it's not really light. We would really get into our characters. But luckily, with our group of friends, they really got me into playing tabletop games, and I became obsessed. Absolutely loved them. We would have weekly games. We would have LAN parties that were supposed to be LAN parties where we were all bringing our computers, but then we'd end up playing tabletop games all weekend. Uh, so great group of friends that we
yeah,
have. And then COVID, it's kind of died down a lot, and then a lot of us started having kids. But um, yeah, so that a few of our friends played Dungeons and Dragons, and I've
yeah.
always wanted to play. So they put together a group of them started playing Dresden Files, which is a tabletop art. It's a popular
Oh,
series.
interesting. Yeah,
Love Dresden Files, but
yeah.
they do have a tabletop game for it. And Cody started playing with them, and they would play weekly. And I was like, super jealous. I want to play. And then after they finished that, they're like, "Hey, we're going to start a D&D
You're
campaign."
like
And I was
me,
like,
me.
"Sign me up,
Yeah,
please, yes."
yeah,
And then, okay, cool, yeah, yeah, you can join. What do you want to be? And I was like, I want to be a wizard. And they're like, that's like one of the hardest at the time before Artificer.
yeah.
That's one of the hardest classes to play. And I'm
You're like,
like,
did I stutter?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, no, I'm gonna be a wizard. Like, it's fine, it's fine. So yeah, yeah, just my friends and playing tabletop games and having finally, and we've been playing for a while now. So yeah.
Ah, that's so cool. And then, okay. And before we go any further, I love vaults. You love vaults. Could you please explain to the good people what vault is and why they should tune in on June 7th when it like airs for its next season?
Okay, so Vault is a Fallout inspired tabletop game. It's set in the Wasteland, the Texas Commonwealth. 100 years after the bombs fell. So this game system is, if you're a fan of Fallout, the video game, even if you're not, if you're a fan of post-apocalyptic
Yeah, science fiction,
themes,
dystopian. Yeah,
yes, this it's very fun and interesting. You don't have to really have lore. I did all the background research for everything. You don't need to know the lore for Fallout to enjoy this campaign. You just need to come and watch all you great performers. You guys make it so easy for me. I'm just like, okay, I set the setting, and you guys just go, and I will direct y'all here and there.
yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, y'all make it so easy. And I love your using your backstories. That's one of my favorite things, weaving your backstories. Um, we're about 17 episodes in, which we are going to be treating as a season 0, which we will be doing I will be doing a recap of that. Not a lot has been missed. And the relationships are still developing. We've got a couple of new characters, not new people necessarily coming in, but new characters coming in. But some of the old ones are staying, so it's going to be. I'm really excited to see what you guys do, because the story that you all have created from your backstories and put into the Texas Commonwealth,
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. I cannot wait.
I think it'd be really, really good. Yeah, it'd be fun to explore the new system as well as this new storyline and everything, because you've had a break from the last time, because Vault was like every single week, and now you have a break where you have a lot of time to write new adventures and all that sort of stuff. So I'm excited to see what you have in store for us. It'll be so much fun. It'll be really, really cool. So as content creators, we can often find ourselves working beyond our limits and ultimately burning out. What would you say your own self-care techniques are to ensure that your mental health is taken care of?
Uh,
Especially as a parent and a content creator and a partner and all that kind of stuff. Like, you wear a lot of hats,
Homeschool, y'all. And I'm a homeschooler. Yeah. So usually I try to be clocked in. If the kids are awake, I am working with them. I am working with my stuff.
Yeah.
After they go to bed, it's checkout time and video games,
Yeah.
TV shows, movies. That's when I get to wind down, and I'm not necessarily on. So yeah, I love playing video games with you guys, and of course with Cody, and watching shows and stuff. So that's my downtime. When the kids go to bed, downtime.
Oh, that's really cool. So setting aside time to do what April loves, not like StilettoDM or any of the other hats you do, but what April wants at the time, which is playing video games like Fallout 76 or what have you. So that's really cool. That's very wise, very smart. To be able to. Because I am a huge, if I have free time, I feel guilty, overwhelming guilt, and I'm like, should I be playing this video game right now? So it's nice to hear that you're at that stage of wisdom, that you're no, I worked really hard the whole day, and I deserve this time to myself, and that's super cool. That's awesome. And yeah, so I know that you've accomplished so much during your career, your various careers as a voice actress and as a dungeon master and all these different things. And you've accumulated so many wins from all those ventures and everything, but I know that you've also encountered some L's. Now, usually L's stand for losses, but the very first woman I interviewed, which is named Eliana Murillo, she coined the term that said that it was actually L's no longer stand for losses, they stand for lessons. So what would you say one of your biggest L's in your career was, and what did you learn from it? Whether it was a situation where you had everything ready, good to go, you were on the ball for everything, and something just still didn't work out, or if it was a situation where you legitimately messed up and you learned your lesson, sort of thing. Go for it.
Well, there's one that stands out, but we're not going to talk about that one. Okay. Sure. So I have a degree in personal training. So that's what I went to school for. I worked for Chili's for 10 years. That it put me through school. I
Yeah.
did. I paid for everything out of pocket. I didn't take a loan until my very final semester. So I was paying. I was paying for everything, semester, my books, tuition, all of it. If I couldn't pay for it, then I didn't take the class that semester and I waited next.
Yeah.
So I did that, waiting tables, and yeah, so and then I got a job as a personal trainer and I was doing both. And I was one of the better trainers at the gym that I was at. I had one of the best clientele
Hmm.
list. I loved it. Um, but Chili's ended up offering me a management position,
Yeah.
uh, which would be making me double what I was making
Wow.
as a personal trainer,
Yeah.
double. So it was like, and at the time I was married to somebody else, and
Yeah.
they were like, it was like, oh, cha-ching, dollar signs, and so I stepped away from something that I really loved and enjoyed doing for money.
Yeah.
But I left something that I loved doing. I mean, I loved working for Chili's too. It was great. It was a great
Yeah.
experience. But I do regret that. Uh, but what I gained from working at Chili's is management experience, all this this business wise sense,
Yeah.
the sense of maturity. I had to mature very quickly to run a staff of 70
Yeah.
people, scheduling and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for it because it molded me into
Yeah.
the knowledge and the person that I am. But at the time, I'm like, man, I stepped away from something that I really enjoyed and something that I went to school for. So, but it all kind of everything led me to where I'm at right now, and all of the information that I learned along the way has really helped. Yeah.
Good. What do you feel like? Because I know that you said you like got your degree and wanted to be a fitness trainer and everything like that. Was it the stress of like having to manage people or being at that level of like power for working at Chili's that was really like the hardest aspect of it? Uh,
Ah, gosh. No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the
yeah.
stress. I enjoyed the excitement. I enjoyed when I had trouble tables. Like I
Yeah.
loved being able to make like flip somebody instantly. Like
Yeah.
I'm having a terrible time. This is awful. And then I'm like, I step in and then I like brighten their day and take the
Persuasion
stress off.
check. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was so much fun it was a game
Yeah.
basically. Everything in life is like a game, and so I enjoyed that aspect of it. I didn't enjoy some of the people I worked with, uh,
Mm,
that were that would take advantage of,
yeah.
put people down that I worked with that were under them. I've always had that mama bear instinct in me. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, you're treating them awful because of this and this. Like, that's not okay. Like,
Yeah.
you can't treat people poorly.
Yeah.
And so I get in trouble a lot stepping in, and like not in trouble, but in trouble socially
Hmm.
with my peers, the other managers, and they're like, "Ah, are you like being cool with these servers?" And I'm like, because they're people.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? So
That's really cool. That explains like I love this interview because it explains so much of your character and what like how you became who you are today. Because the April that I see is very wise, very mature, very strong, like a powerhouse of so much talent and so much like wisdom. You can it's like you can do no wrong essentially, where you can and it makes sense because you've had all these like you've lived multiple lives where you've done so much over your life as an artist and as like a manager and the emotional intelligence you built from like working with so many people. So it's like really really cool to see how like amazing you are, so it's like awesome. And then so pivoting on the other end of the spectrum, what would you say one of your favorite W's or wins are that you take the most pride in? You've already mentioned a lot of cool things, so like what is that one thing that really stands out there, like I killed it in this time?
I'm a pretty great mom.
That's a good one. But that's I'm gonna say that's a cop out because like we already know you're a great mom, so you gotta choose something else. What is April like super good at? Yeah.
uh, Man, there's so many amazing, like I feel blessed every day that I get to play with. I mean, you guys, I mean, look at the cast of Vault.
Yeah.
I've got freaking superstars. um and I get to be the overseer for this group of people. Like that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And getting to play with all of these people, like I mean, I get to play with Sid Adams. I got to play um, with Jesse. Like
Yep.
there's so many people that I've had the opportunity to play with and talk
Yeah.
to and be friends with. And so gosh, that's been amazing. But also like probably one of my favorite things ever is I am very passionate about fundraising.
Yeah.
And when I worked at Chili's,
Yeah.
I was working in one of the smallest restaurants in Texas,
Yeah.
Chili's restaurants, but I was first place in the entire state for gathering donations for St. Jude Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite time of year. Anytime St. Jude came around, I was busting my butt getting donations because
Oh
it was just,
wow. Yeah.
yeah, I would go to Walmart, I'd be one of the people that stands in front of Walmart and I'm like, hey, do you want to donate? Like I was one of those people and I did it off the clock.
Yeah.
And I did it. I loved hustling for that. I love fundraising
Yeah.
and especially for St. Jude. Like that's one of the like my
Yeah, because that's
favorite.
what we raised money for the adventures. Yeah, wanted. That was like really really cool, and we killed our goal at that time too. So it's like awesome that we did so much good for that. So go ahead and brag and tell us like if you had to do a ballpark figure, how much money do you think you've raised over the years for like St. Jude and all that kind of stuff from your efforts and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, maybe 750, no, maybe 750,000 total.
Dang. Yeah.
That's not an exaggeration. Like
Yeah.
750,000 at least total.
That is amazing. And that's one thing that like people should know about, that you work so hard to be able to like help other people, because that money legitimately went to good, practices and all that kind of stuff, to supplies and equipment and all these different things to help people in need. So that's an amazing feat. That is a huge W for sure. Oh my gosh. So what would you say some of your geeky passions are that fuel you and your creativity, that who made you who you are today? Now you mentioned like Bob Ross and Fallout and Dungeons and Dragons and all these different things, but what would you say your biggest influences are?
Oh man, I've always like I said, I've always been a big reader. Some of my favorite books growing up, I would always try to find books that had dragons on the front of them
Yeah.
too. If it was a big book and it had dragons on it and knights and stuff, that was one of my go-tos. I'm like, yes, I want this. So it feels like this was always meant to be. I was always meant to play Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like this because that was what I was reading growing up. Those were my favorite books.
Yeah.
And video games growing up. I mean, I can remember playing the original Nintendo, playing, and I was also a wrestling fan for quite a long
Yeah,
time.
that's
Playing wrestling games.
yeah.
On the old Nintendo, Marble Madness, just stuff like that. I've always been into video games and reading and superheroes and comic books and shows and stuff like that. You're gonna love this. So I also grew up watching soap operas,
Oh, really? Yeah.
which also kind of weaves into dungeon mastering.
Yeah.
Like you can come up with these fantastical stories because you've been watching them, all your life. Like, why is this person possessed, Marlena? Why
Yeah.
is this person possessed and floating off the bed?
It's
like
good
that was
stuff.
just
Yeah.
so cool.
I admittedly General Hospital is one of my favorite soap operas, and I would watch it like every summer from like, cuz I would have to stay with my grandmother, and she loved novellas and soap operas. So in the morning she'd watch all the American soap operas, and at night she would watch all the novellas and all that kind of stuff. So I had to watch both of them. So I loved the like, I'm the evil twin brother who you thought was dead but is really alive, and it's like ba ba ba, and it's like, so those things were so good because it's true. Like in storytelling, one of the biggest components of it is like whatever the worst thing that could happen has to happen, and that's how you create like the drama. That way the audience is like, oh no, not that thing. So it's like it's good. Yeah, it's like this thing. So it's like it's really really cool. And speaking of that, by the way, two things. One, as a storyteller, as a voice actress, as any of those things, as an artist, that captures April Hill, what is one of your pieces of advice for anyone looking to be a an artist in any capacity?
There are going to be times that you think you suck and that your work isn't good. Um, and that's okay. Are you having fun? Is it making you happy? I mean, that's what matters the most. I mean, not everyone's going to be able to turn a profit off of art and stuff like that, but do it if it makes you happy. If it doesn't make you happy, then don't do it. But if it's something that you love and you enjoy, even if you're not going to be the best person at it, and I mean, so what? Have fun with it and just enjoy yourself. So,
Oh, that's awesome. And then the second thing is that, which might be the same piece of advice, but if you could go back in time to sit with April, where you were at the lowest of lows for whatever point in life that you were at, what is that piece of advice that you would give to yourself to that piece of wisdom to be like, April, if you do this thing, things will get easier, things will get better, all that kind of stuff. Would you say it's similar or exactly the same, or do you think it would be unique to?
uh, yeah. No, I would tell myself that to stop looking for other people's approval.
Validation,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, that you don't need it from any of them. None of their opinions matter. Uh, that you're going to do amazing things that none of them saw coming and none of them deserve to be a part of
Yeah.
because you did it, not them, and you don't need their approval.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most powerful aspects for people who are empathetic or have a lot of emotional intelligence like you and I, where we are so empathetic to the point where we can feel what everyone else is feeling, and we start to like second guess ourselves or doubt ourselves or like, want to find a way to make people like in somehow some way our self-esteem gets lowered through that process, to the point where we feel, even though we're like maybe the smartest in the room, the most creative, can bring the thunder, for whatever we're doing, we still are the ones thinking like, did you like that? Did everyone think it was cool? That one person doesn't like it, so therefore I'm gonna freak out about it. It's like,
Zone in on them, and I'm like, what can I do to fix why you
exactly.
don't like me? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm glad that we are like getting out of that mindset and becoming stronger people, like, so it's really really cool because I've only known you for, I think, a few months. Like, I think I joined in like October or November or something like that of when I met you and everything. So it's been wonderful to see our like growth and everything, where we were both in very lows where it's like, oh man, I feel like trash, I'm so nervous, I have anxiety, and then it's always like everything always works out super well. And like, so it's, yeah, so I appreciate that you are so strong and so amazing. Yeah, so it's like really really cool. So uh another thing, where can we find you online?
Okay. Stiletto underscore assassin here on Twitch and on Instagram, and Stiletto DM on Twitter. Um, yeah, I also have an Etsy shop and an Etsy or an Instagram for heels. Um,
Oh, is it like HILLS and then HEELS?
mhm,
Okay,
mhm,
perfect,
mhm.
perfect. Okay.
It might be hills underscore. I think it's just heels.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's an underscore or anything like that in my Instagram. Yeah, and then my shop on Etsy. That's yeah. So I do pearl Converse. I do hand painted Converse. I did some Studio Ghibli ones, and I did
Oh
some Zelda
wow. Yeah.
ones, some hand painted. I've done a lot of just a lot of variety hand painted
Yeah.
ones. Star Trek, a lot of Star Trek, a lot of Star
Oh
Wars.
really? Alexia would probably
Yeah.
love that. I have to like talk to you about that. So that'd be really cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, cool. So I know that you've seen my interviews in the past and everything, so you know what's like coming. So for anyone who doesn't know, what I do at the end of every interview is I go ahead and sit the person down, and then just have a few moments where I have a real talk with them and tell them, everything that's wonderful about them. So, and just to be genuine, that way, if you never ever have gotten roses in your life and verbal roses, then this is the time that you get, given them and all that kind of stuff. So, April, I want to thank you so much for like being in my life and being in this community. You've helped out so many people along the way from everything that happened in like Fable 42 and all that drama and all that chaos. Like you had everyone's back throughout it all, and you just like when things were going wrong, you were there for us. Like you were our port in the storm, that mama bear that really looked after all of us. You have the biggest heart in the world, and you're the kindest soul, and you're so creative. Like it is incredible how much you can like put out as a storyteller. And like I love your stories. I look forward, like I literally look forward to Vault. Like that is something that makes me genuinely happy. Out of all the tabletop RPG events that I've ever been a part of and everything like that, you are the one that like runs and organizes the one that I love the most. So like thank you so much for being
Oh,
in my life and doing all that and being in this community, because like chat is filled with tons of people who are like talking about how awesome you are and how amazing you are, and there's so many people who are like, I want to see that interview and I want to like check her out because you matter so much. So I'm sorry about all the things you've had to overcome in your life, but you're so much stronger because of it. Like it's one of those things that the blade only gets sharpened by rubbing against something super rough, and that's exactly what you are, because you're very sharp, you're witty, you're charming, you're kind, and you're all these amazing things. And not only that, but on top of all of that, you're a great partner, and you're also a wonderful mother and everything. So you're like Wonder Woman essentially. So thank you, April, for everything you've ever done and will do in the future. You're amazing.
thank you. You're pretty great too.
Oh,
Like,
thank you.
yeah. This
Yeah,
is. I'm not. I'm like so like it's like coming, but I'm like
it's all
stop it.
good.
Like,
Honestly, this is your time. These are your roses. You accept them wholeheartedly. Whatever you feel, you've earned that feeling and all that kind of stuff. Tears do not make you weak. They're only it's all that kind of stuff. So I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. Make sure to follow April at StilettoDM on Twitter and everything else on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Support her. She's wonderful in every single way. She's going to be in upcoming amazing projects, including Vault, which will be on June 7th. Will be the first episode. My one shot will be not next Monday, but the Monday afterwards, which will be wild and crazy and insane. And she'll also
I get to
be.
be a player.
I
I get to
know
be a
that'll be really really cool.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
It'll be so amazing. And then yeah, you'll also be in the Phoenix by Night, which is the Vampire the Masquerade thing coming up soon. So there's a lot of awesome things that you're going to be involved in. So I'm excited. Make sure to follow her. Thank you guys again so much for being here. If you would like to be interviewed, please go ahead and reach out on my Discord or whatever. And other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful night, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.